I don't audibly laugh out loud when I see something on the internet very often. You know what? Usually I just push out some air a little bit more quickly than normal. But yesterday when William Nylander signed for $6.9 million and my entire Twitter timeline just said nice, period, I laughed for a good 2 minutes out loud. Because it just kept coming. Like, there were so many nices on my timeline. I thought there was like a bug with Twitter. And then I go on Reddit. And what is the first thing that the first comment says? Nice.
I'm gonna have to correct you, Evan. It wasn't 6.9 million. It was an effective 6.969. That madman Kyle Dubas went for the double 69.
There is no way that wasn't intentional.
100% it was intentional.
Nylander probably took a $300,000 pay cut just to hit that number.
That's actually what the holdout has been about. Nylander wanted just 6.9. And he didn't think that he thought a double 69 canceled out the 69, and him and Dubas came from the opposite schools of 69.
Nice.
Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast.
So is that just another? How does a double 69 work? The other person just goes on the back of the other person, and then
I think
of it like a double grilled cheese.
Yeah,
you just keep building on.
Yeah. Well,
it's not quite a Big Mac.
Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast. I'm Ryan Hanna, and I'm also sorry.
I'm Brad Crisco, and I'm not.
I'm Evan Lobsinger, and I'm definitely not.
Today on the we'll talk about Nylander once we've grown up a little bit. But today on the docket we have the Detroit Red Wings had an eventful evening. A great classic hockey game against the Boston Bruins. We'll also talk a little bit more about who to look forward to in terms of the defensive prospect. I don't really know if you can call him a prospect anymore. Pipeline. Maybe even some more Howard talk, depending on how angry you guys get at me. A lot of people didn't take kindly to that. Then we'll talk about Nylander, and that might be controversial, so we'll tone it down and talk about something like Tom Wilson before heading into quick hits and then overtime.
And we actually have a hard quick hit to do this time.
Once. We do. It was our first topic that was fit perfectly in. Not a main topic, but also worth noting.
Yeah. We can give that topic a solid 2 minutes and fill it comfortably.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted. It's kind of you'll see when we get there. But first, the Red Wings last night against the Boston Bruins. First of all, I'm going to say this once: you never, ever, ever break up a goalie fight. Ever. I didn't look up the name of those officials and linesmen last night because I don't want to have to antagonize them for the rest of my waking existence. But find me a person on this green earth who didn't want to see Jimmy Howard and Tuukka Rask drop the gloves.
Two of probably the top 5 goalies in the league in terms of crazy level.
Jimmy Howard has resting crazy eyes, and Tuukka Rask has definitely killed a lot of people in his life.
Tuukka Rask would have such a strong right hook just from his history of chucking milk crates.
Like, phenomenally perfect situation. It was a classic Marchand Pest moment. It was a classic line brawl. Bertuzzi had one guy in his hand and punching another guy in the face. Everyone was in on it. Everyone had a dance partner. Rask just did not skip a beat and jumped straight in. And the referees would not let it happen. I have never more wanted to punch through drywall in my life. For those of you who watch How I Met Your Mother, and Barney said to Ted when Ted broke up Robin and someone else fighting, and Barney went, "You never break up a girl fight! Never!" and punched through the wall. That is exactly how I felt. You just don't break up a goalie fight. We, as hockey fans, as a collective, nay, as a people, have been robbed. And I never want you to forget that.
One take I want to get from you guys. Almost all of Red Wings Twitter was pretty certain Jimmy Howard would have won that fight.
Tuukka Rask is pretty crazy.
Tuukka Rask might be the craziest goalie in the NHL. It's like him and Mike Smith in a toss.
Robin Lehner's
got his stuff together now,
too.
though. He's properly medicated and he's good now.
Oh yeah, I guess I shouldn't have said that.
But
that was
Robin
actually,
Lehner circa of last year would have been the heavyweight champ, undisputed, there will be no more challengers.
On that note, go look up the article about Robin Lehner and like how he has to work through a lot of.
Oh, it's a really good article. And he's having a huge year. He's the biggest reason the Islanders are as good as they are because the team in front of him is terrible. But yeah, so I'm not saying Jimmy would have lost the fight, but Jimmy Crazy Eyes Howard would have put up a really good fight against Tuukka Milk Crates Rask.
I think it would have been a great fight. I genuinely think it would have been a great fight.
They wouldn't have held back.
I have a hard time joining in on the Howard would have definitely won bandwagon. I think he had a chance for sure. But that doesn't matter. A goalie fight's a goalie. Unless it's like Ray Emery absolutely mugging a guy. I mean...
3 guys in one brawl.
Well, no. It wasn't that one. Was that the same fight where Ray Emery had... I think it was Holtby. He went after Holtby and Holtby didn't want to fight.
Oh, yeah.
I love
Emery got suspended for that one, didn't he? Because he suckered him or something? I can't remember.
Yeah. Also,
Rick.
yeah, that terribly sad story. Anyhow, that goalie fight would have been... It doesn't matter who won. They wanted to go. It wasn't just like a joking around, let's do this. Like, that was a true, old school, original 6 classic hockey goalie fight, and we were robbed.
And why? And I just love that Brad Marchand just... for no reason Jimmy Howard as you skate to the bench on the...
He is such an effective pest.
The thing... I go through these cycles on Brad Marchand, like, you're an a-hole, and then I get to the point, well, he is trying so hard to be an a-hole, I am actually truly entertained, so I appreciate it. And then he does something dirty, and I go back to... And then he goes back... I always circle whether or not I'm entertained with his douchebaggery, or if I'm appalled by it. I never know.
Brad Marchand is a phenomenal hockey player. I would say a borderline superstar. Oftentimes is definitely a superstar. Playing against him, if you're watching as a fan of the opposing team, I guarantee he will make you hate him. He is so damn good at that.
I know, and the only way to really effectively squash this is to ignore him.
That's absolutely the only way. So he and Bertuzzi were going at it.
Yeah.
And
because Marchand threw a, it looked to me like a clean hit, but I could see the argument for maybe a bit of a charge, maybe a bit high, but whatever. And Bertuzzi steps up like, hey, you don't do that. And of course Marchand, being the pest he is, he's like, ha, no.
Hooks his stick around his hands and just like yanks it quickly. And then Marchand had taken a penalty. Howard was skating to the bench. And I don't know if he said anything to him. Howard said he didn't say anything, but that makes me believe that he did. And then as he's skating by, Marchand gives him a whack in the leg, and then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, Bertuzzi was trying to get him to go, but Marchand wouldn't, and Bertuzzi's just like, come on, nothing's happening. As soon as stick connected with Howard, Bertuzzi's gloves were off in a split second, and he was just grabbing anybody in front of him.
He had one guy grabbed, that guy was kind of tied up, wasn't going to throw a punch. Someone else was already coming in, and Bertuzzi released one hand and just knocked him in the face. So I was watching this, and we had people over, so I wasn't like heavy like on Twitter. So I just picked up my phone and quickly tweeted, Brad Marchand, and there was a list. Slash is a player. Slash is a goalie. Hides. Those first three things actually happened. Like, he legitimately hid behind... He did his pest and then duck away to try and goad them into a penalty. And then the next was drops his gloves and punches people who aren't paying attention. And that might have been a little bit generous.
He did it to Lars Eller.
He dropped his gloves and joined in after everyone was turned away. And it looked like he threw a punch, but that was just me. That was me giving a I was going for the humor tweet here. And then the last one, which was actually true, I said, act surprised that he's penalized. I didn't realize how much people hate Brad Marchand. As of recording, that tweet has 193 retweets and 863 likes. That is more than my dog with the political sign against vacuums tweet. You guys hate Brad Marchand more than you love dog memes, and that is so...
That says a lot.
Yeah, that says so much. Again, if you had to pick one player outside of like the obvious superstars that you would want on your team to be effective in every way, Brad Marchand is like the best version of that, right? Like, he is so... But that was just such a classic hockey game. I'm pro this team getting the best draft pick possible. I will never be upset about winning a game like that. I will never be upset about a Red Wings win.
I'll never be upset about anybody beating the Bruins.
That was such a great game to watch, and obviously the result was phenomenal. Larkin...
Hold on, we're going to go through this whole melee and not even highlight who everybody's favorite Red Wing should be right now.
Luke Witkowski?
Tyler Bertuzzi. He's on a hell of a heater right now in terms of actual offense, because didn't he end up getting credit for I want to say it was the Red Wings' first goal.
He did get credit for the first goal. He had, and we'll talk about that disallowed goal.
But yeah, because I got two different notifications on the first goal, and one said Rasmussen, one says Bertuzzi, and I don't know. I forgot to check. Well,
it was Bertuzzi.
Okay. So the double deflection. Bertuzzi's on pace for near 30 goals this year, and he's still being the Red Wings like jack of all trades, pest, enforcer, agitator, power play, penalty kill, everything. I think he was even on the ice in the last minute of the game protecting the 1-goal lead. Tyler Bertuzzi is literally, we've said this before, he is everything we were hoping just an applicator would be.
Yeah.
But he's that already, and he's only 23. And he's doing it on the third line, not playing on a line with two generational talents.
Which is the huge difference. Which is what makes me stop, or what stops me from jumping in and saying Brad so far. Because again, still, for this to be cemented as who he is as a player, and to earn a contract that would reward this kind of play, for example, like Abdelkader's contract, this has to be persistent for more than a season. But he's had such a fantastic start to the season.
I'm such a big fan of Bertuzzi. If you gave him Abdelkader's contract right now, I'm okay with it.
I would be okay with it if it meant like literally transferring Abdelkader's contract over to Bertuzzi. No, Bertuzzi had a fantastic first goal, and he almost was Lil Tuzzi Bert for the second time in 2 games, a 2-goal game from him. But then they disallowed the goal because of contact. They challenged for goaltender interference, and it was the challenge was successful, and the goal was overturned. Here's the thing: was there contact? Yes. Did Rask throw out his arms and jump backwards, which is the real reason why he was out of position? Yes. In my mind, if you're watching that play, or if you're reviewing that play, you either allow the goal, or if you're going off the technicality that they did make enough contact and he just had an egregious embellishment, disallow the goal and then give him 2 minutes for embellishment, because that was gross embellishment. And they obviously saw it because they were reviewing it. And I'm not sure if I can be unbiased here. I think they should have allowed the goal, but at the very least, 2-minute minor, because Rask definitely sold that. Didn't even sell it well. It wasn't even convincing on the replay. It was unfortunate. The result still turned out in the Red Wings' favor, but Bertuzzi really should have 10 goals on the year right now instead of 9. But still contributed so much to that game. Has been the hottest Red Wing right now, right?
No, yeah, him. Well, Athanasiou is up to 11 goals now, but yeah, lately it's been Bertuzzi.
Well, him and Athanasiou and Larkin. Larkin's just like his pace is slowed a tiny bit. Like he's like 4 or 5 points under point per game right now, which is what we anticipated would happen, but he's still going solid. Mm-hmm. And he's scoring in every which way, or he's generating offense in every which way. He picked up a great rebound. I think it was a rebound, his goal.
Yeah.
It was, it was fantastic.
Oh, you just made me realize something, and now I'm sad.
Oh, I love when I do that.
At least Rowan would be happy, because Larkin's little dip in production timed up right around the time Helm went out with the injury and Abdelkader got replaced on that line.
Oh, Rowan is not gonna let you let that one go on.
So that can be a Helm compliment and also a shot at Abdelkader. Yeah. So I'll take it.
You shouldn't have said that.
But here's the thing now is I don't want Bertuzzi to go up to that line now, because I'm really happy that the Red Wings can actually roll out 3 somewhat productive lines now. Like Glendening, Rasmussen, Bertuzzi. Call me crazy. I really like that third line right now.
No, I like it too. It's Rasmussen has a groove. Rasmussen and Bertuzzi, you mentioned this before, don't separate them. The issue with Rasmussen before was that he wasn't playing with people who could play with him. And you're asking a guy to learn how to play in this professional game with literally no support in that fourth line. So yeah, keep him with Bertuzzi.
Yeah, people say you need to have that old school tradition of you need a playmaker, you need a scorer, and you need a grit guy on a line.
Yeah.
You have Rasmussen and Bertuzzi are 2 of the best players in the entire league when it comes to coordination, timing, hand-eye, like guys in net front stuff, right? Look at the goal against St. Louis where they both caused chaos and Bertuzzi ended up finishing it. You can't have too much of a good thing on one line. Having 2 similar players, and then Luke Glendening, who's completely incapable as a playmaker but can at least win puck battles and get the puck to the net for those guys to create the chaos they create. I'm okay with that. Let it happen.
Bertuzzi's goal was truly just the culmination of both. They slapped together both of their net front presence abilities, and they say this adds up to at least 1 goal, and it did, because it deflected off both. It was a point shot from Green that deflected off Rasmussen that deflected off Bertuzzi.
Yeah, but a really nice tip by Rasmussen too, the way he tucked his hand in.
Yeah, it was deft, like, great hand-eye coordination by Rasmussen for, like, the true net front presence tip, and then Bertuzzi's crash the net, I'm everywhere in your face where you don't want me to be, body as a backboard to put that puck in. It was such, like, a nice, like, embodiment of who they are as players. And again, like, keep them together. Especially because if the Red Wings D-core with Mike Green back can start generating more offense, those pucks are going to start getting to the nets, and the Red Wings have been sorely missing. Their best net front guy has been Justin Applicator since Thomas Holmstrom left. That's not a good thing.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah.
He's been the net front guy, but I wouldn't say best.
No, that's what I mean. Like,
I'm pretty sure in the 25% of the time relative that Anthony Mantha's been there, it's probably been more effective.
Oh, 100%. But if you ask the team, they're
Yeah.
like, oh, Justin Applicator was our net front
Just because
guy.
he's willing to does not mean he is good at it.
No.
When was the last time Applicator had a deflection goal? I honestly, like a true deflection goal, I do not
Oh,
remember.
like an actual intentional tip?
Yeah.
I don't think he knows how to do it.
I don't remember. And that's kind of one of the things you have to do to be a net, air quotations, net front guy. Rasmussen's been in the league for like 2 months and has 4 of them.
And it's so good because one thing I was worried about with Rasmussen was he would come into this league and he wouldn't quite be keeping up with the pace, and he would, he's not going to score 3 points a night like he did in the playoffs last season. Obviously not in the NHL. And he would switch up core parts of his games just to fit into the lineup. And I was worried that the Red Wings were going to kind of ham-fist him that way. And for a little while, it looked like that's what they were doing.
Wait, you mean taking a skilled player and trying to change how they are as a hockey player? No. Jeff Fletcher would never.
The Red Wings? No. And that's what I was concerned about doing, or that's what I was concerned that they were going to do. And it looked, with his fourth line minutes and playing with grinders, I'm like, they're going to make this guy do something he doesn't want to do. But he really has come around in leveraging his size. And it's not a pretty way to play hockey when you're a rookie, because you're going to get a lot of flack for only being effective on the power play, or you're going to get a lot of flack if the people around you aren't good. But he's been solid, he's been working at it, and you've seen a notable improvement in every game. Not only that, he's defensively responsible. If you watch that goal, the Bertuzzi goal that went off both Rasmussen and Bertuzzi, Rasmussen was back on the right point covering for, I believe, either Green or Cronwall. He was covering for him in the perfect position on the point. The moment that defenseman was back in his position, beeline for where he needed to be. It was a perfect transition. I'm not going to say that can't be taught. I'm saying it can be taught, but forwards have a hard time picking it up. And if you're talking about a guy who's huge and lumbering and maybe not known for his foot speed, not that he's a bad skater, but he's not the quickest guy, for him to do that so effectively, get in position, and put that puck in the net, there's a lot of these goals, and we'll try and fill you in on them on the podcast, the little things to look out for. These are the kind of things that you should look out. It's the flashy breakaway goal or the Athanasiou triple deke through your legs into the stands, off the Heasy goals are amazing to see. But these are also the small hockey plays that you want to see when you're watching a young guy develop, and Rasmussen's really been impressive. We're going to move on. I want to talk about Filip Hronek, because I feel like he's our next call-up.
Filip Hronek, who would be on any NHL team right now outside of the Detroit Red Wings, because for some reason we have Trevor Daley injured and are still dressing 7 defensemen a night and still have Filip Hronek and everybody in the AHL. It's comical at this point.
I know.
I'm not even going to rip on Blashill for stupidly going 11-7 because, hey, they won both games they did that, so who am I to argue? And Luke Witkowski just about ended David Krejci, so,
That was a big hit. And you know what? I commend the Bruins for standing up to that, because Krejci lost a tooth on a hit from the other night, I think.
Krejci's had a rough week.
I
still stand by the fact that Luke Witkowski should never step on NHL ice ever again, because watching him actually try to play hockey is comical.
Yeah, it's not great.
But, whatever.
If you think he should be a mainstay of this team, you're entitled to your opinion, but also it's wrong.
I don't mind having him on the roster. You need to put someone in the press box every night, and hey, who better than a guy who everybody loves around the room, and, in case of emergency situations where a guy gets hurt in the warm-ups, can plug in.
Yeah.
Sure.
I love Winter.
Yeah, sure. I got absolutely no problem with Luke Witkowski being the 13th forward or the 7th defenseman in the press box every night, because I don't want him in Grand Rapids taking a roster spot from a guy developing, and I don't want him on the Red Wings because I don't want him on the Red Wings. So, yeah, whatever. It's fine. But don't go out of your way to create a roster spot for him like Blashill has been doing.
Yeah, when Helm comes back, I'll then be worried again about it.
Yeah, well, when Helm comes back and Applicator hopefully gets demoted to the fourth line, it'll be great.
Or
First line, here he comes.
He's already there.
Jeff Blashill did break the seal and healthy scratch Jonathan Ericsson, so he might do the same for Applicator.
Yeah, but that was not after he actually played a game. He could have still been like, technically I'm healthy enough to play, but if I want the extra game to rest to make sure I'm really fully healed, sure.
You know, all of your technicalities. I don't need that. I don't need your logic. But what I do need is more of what Philip Hronek has been doing. He is currently 9th in defensive, or in terms of points per game, he's 9th for all defensemen in the AHL. He's got 14 points in 16 games, 4 goals and 10 assists. Has been on a little bit of a tear recently, if I'm not mistaken, and has been really impressive.
Something like 9 points in his last 6 games or something like that. Something close to that. It might not be exactly that, but...
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to read out his points over the last 5 or 6 games. Last 6 games. 1 assist, 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 assist, 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 assist. Those are his last 6 games. So
2 of them are overtime winners, 2 on his goals.
What you want to see from Philip Hronek is him not skipping a beat, having not made this team out of camp, which he really was the favorite over Cholowski. Cholowski obviously has blown everyone out of the water. That's it. He is the story of all the
Yeah, it's nothing against Hronek.
No. He wasn't terribly impressive. I do wish he would have had a better camp or a better preview.
Hronek, well, if you're a believer in the fantasy numbers, he was one of the stronger Red Wings in his...
He was. And I just wish he would have earned his spot, because I do like watching the guy play.
And 3 points in 6 games in the NHL. Hronek like, didn't blow the doors off like Cholowski did in preseason and the beginning of the season, but he certainly wasn't struggling.
I'm gonna have a hot take here. I think Hronek's ceiling is same place Cholowski's is. I do believe he's maybe more of a slow burn, but I think they might end up in the same place.
It's hard to compare because they're 2 completely different styles of play.
That's why it's a hot take.
That's why it's a hot take, Brad.
That's a hot take.
You gotta learn how to. You can't just dish them out. You gotta learn how to handle the hot takes, man.
Can't just put out the mild ones all the time.
No.
You gotta roll the dice.
No, you gotta roll.
Oh wait,
the dice.
I gotta handle the hot takes like you guys do. I need to like react as if I'm personally offended by the statement.
I'm not personally offended by your takes. I'm personally offended that you're speaking to me. The Philip Hronek will be the next player called up, or the next defenseman called up in case of injury, or if Jensen's traded, or that kind of thing. He's someone to look out for. I think if his development goes well, there's a real chance he could be a true second pairing defenseman.
Yep.
Which is fantastic.
And power play quarterback. Cholowski and Hronek are realistically right now the 2 long-term solutions for power play quarterbacks, unless Saryarvi takes a bigger step than either of these 2 guys.
Saryarvi's at home run swing. I'm trying to think of a baseball way to describe this. So far, he's fouled twice, and he just keeps fouling off. And you know he has it in him, but he's not taking the huge steps that we would have wanted him to, especially considering the flashes of brilliance he's shown in previous years in the NBA.
In the preseason, he looked phenomenal. Had a couple of goals, a couple of assists, and then I think he's got like 1 goal on the season in Grand Rapids. So I don't know what to make of that, but
he's still an effective guy, and by no means has he been a bust. Still someone to watch and look out for. In the AHL is funny. You have guys who will be mediocre, and they are what they are in the AHL, but then once they get their audition in the show for one reason or another.
Speaking of the Griffins, I think Zadina's got 5 goals and 5 assists in his last dozen games.
Yeah, I would not be surprised.
So Zadina's finally starting to not necessarily like tear the doors down, but that consistency looks to be there now.
Yeah,
which wasn't before.
Yeah, he's scoring at the pace that he's putting up offense at the pace where, really we would have wanted to see him. If he didn't make the team, we'd at least want to see him do this consistently.
Just under a point per game, equal number of goals as assists is. Yeah, that's about what I expected over the course of the season. So now he's kind of finally got there. So
especially considering he did not have a good start. He had a very slow start to the AHL season. Besides Hronek and Saryarvi, any other prospects or guys to keep an eye on?
Jared McIsaac now, especially with World Juniors coming up, because even as the Detroit Red Wings might have 2 prospects on the Team Canada World Junior team right now as 18-year-olds. Valeno and McIsaac both look like they have really good shots. I could be mistaken. I haven't checked in 2 or 3 days, but I'm pretty sure Jared McIsaac still was a point per game as a defenseman in the Q, which is unbelievably impressive.
And Valeno was the QMJHL Player of the Week or month?
Because he had something like 18 points in 5 games.
That'll do it. That sure will do it. Zadina's sitting at 15 points in 22 games with Grand Rapids. All right. Let's do the thing. William Nylander.
Okay, this is the last time we're going to talk about William Nylander because I'm sick of talking about William Nylander. But hey, William Nylander's finally signed a contract. So now the only time we have to talk about William Nylander is when he actually does something hockey related.
Everyone who's active on Hockey Twitter was on Hockey Twitter from 4:30 onwards. I actually had to take a shower to be somewhere, and I refused to do it in case I missed the news. So I'm sitting there in my washroom, refreshing Twitter, and it's getting down to like 4:45, and I made my low-hanging fruit Le'Veon Bell reference, and we get to 4:50, and I'm like, this guy's not going to sign, because it came out that Dubas and the Leafs had made their final offer to Nylander. I don't want to imagine it was a big adjustment from where they were, but the final offer in his camp was considering it. Obviously, a trade wouldn't happen at this point, 4:30 p.m. onwards. Sorry, for context, Nylander had to have signed by 5 p.m. On Saturday, December 1st, Eastern Time, to be eligible to play this season. So from 4:30 onwards, a trade obviously wasn't going to happen, because to process the trade and then process the signing with the new team realistically wouldn't have been able to be done. Fax machines and all that. What NFL player was it who got screwed over by a fax machine? Elvis Dumerville?
What a name that is.
No, it's a hell of a name.
Columbus's top goalie prospect is Elvis Merzlikins.
That's incredible. Call him up now. Trade Bobrovsky for nothing. Call that guy up now. So we get to 4:50. I'm like, this guy's not going to sign. We get to 4:55, and all I think is, you know what? Dubas's smirk has not been just because that guy knows what he's doing, and he is constantly just kind of like toying with the media. And Nylander wants to be he wants to play. The guy loves Toronto. That was never in question. And I'm like, can you imagine the Pokemon-like evolution of hockey Twitter if this guy signed at like 4:59 p.m. Lo and behold, 4:57 rolls around. I get the notification. I think Drager was the first mainstream guy, but actually a few Swedish people got it out first. A few of the Swedish media got it out first. He signed 6 years, an effective $6.969 million contract.
Because of the weird fact that he signed 2 months into the season. They were allowed to prorate the cap for some reason, so his cap hit this year is actually 10.5.
Yeah.
But for the rest of it, it's only 6.9. Every other year is 6.9 for some reason. And they actually did confirm the paperwork was filed with the league at 4:55. They literally got it in 5 minutes under the bell.
The absolute madmen. You know what the best part about all of this is? In the absolute mayhem of this news breaking, Leafs Nation is going insane. The hockey world is losing its mind. Kyle Dubas, 10 minutes after it happens, I might be skewing the timeline here, but soon after it happens, goes to that Columbus fan who tweeted a picture of him and Dubas and said, "Oh, Nylander's signing. Dubas told me." He goes to his tweet and replies to him and says, "Never. It was never in question, right?"
Never in doubt, right?
I love this man. I hate how much I love him, but I also love how much I love him.
A year ago, how we were petitioning for Detroit to steal.
No, he would have been too cool for Detroit.
I feel like we justified that take now because you can't hate this man.
This deal is great for both sides, genuinely. I think that's a great cap hit for what Nylander is. I think Nylander, with the fact that he got a $10 million prorated salary, means that he didn't lose any money effectively for the time that he didn't held up. He got paid, and he basically got at least $500,000 more per year than what the initial offer was.
Also, just to prove how much numbers matter in terms of perception and how immature hockey Twitter is. Everybody always rounds cap hits. That's a $7 million cap hit. That's just a hair under 7, but nobody's saying it's a $7 million cap. It's 6.9.
6.969?
Yeah, if you 6.969. That's rounded up to 7. But anyways, you were saying.
It's so intentional, right? He definitely did it on purpose.
100%. And Dubas can say we kept them under 7, so we did our job well. Nylander's like, yeah, but I got 7, so I'm happy.
So Nylander won because he got paid. He's going to be back playing on what is now, in my mind, the Cup favorite. No. If not one of the top 3 Cup favorites.
Yeah.
The team won for a few reasons. One, and this is something a lot of people aren't talking about, this whole spectacle Nylander came out scot-free in the end, it very well could have turned public opinion against him. Marner and Matthews are going to want to avoid that. In my mind, they both take discounts. I think Matthews won't take a huge discount, but it'll kind of be like what McDavid did, where like, I don't need the 12.9, give me like 12.5 or whatever the
I'll
details
bet
were.
on Matthews getting 12.5.
I think Marner takes a discount. I think Marner's a good old Canadian boy, like loves Toronto. I genuinely see him. I see them both taking hits on their salary, and I think Marner will work his number down.
I actually kind of personally know Marner's dad, who's also his agent.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that spells bad for my opinion.
His father is an extremely nice man, one of the more pleasant conversations I've had in the hockey world in the last few years. He is not taking a discount.
You heard it here first, folks.
This is all hearsay. Like, I don't have any hard sources, just based on...
That's not hearsay. You're saying you heard from the source.
Yeah, that's not hearsay at all.
Brad.
Nat didn't ask him if he would take a hometown discount, so he did not say no, Marner is not getting. But based on how he approaches...
So to clarify, your perception of who he is as a person would mean that he'd be an agent who would drive a hard bargain.
Yes.
Okay. You know what? A small aside, Brad, of all the things that have improved on this podcast, including this podcast, the thing that I think has improved the most is your vocabulary.
That is
phenomenal.
true.
It's been phenomenal.
That is true.
Check out his tweets, folks. There's some big words in there. I look at it, I'm like, Brad Crisco.
I get more articulate the angrier I get.
And that's a hard skill to attain. That was my first point, which Brad has kind of put a rock on top of to start. Second point, this is a very tradable contract. This is a very movable contract at a very reasonable cap hit.
This is what I wanted to get to, because there was a lot. Because Leaf fans right now are over the moon.
And they should be.
They should be. They're great. But and I was happy to be the one to put the damper on this. And a lot of prominent writers also threw this out there. So there's a tweet from Bruce Arthur. I don't think he was the first one to mention this, but just the one I happened to notice. Based on the first year that's prorated, where Nylander's getting like $10.5 million, whatever it is, and the massive signing bonus he gets next year as well, 42% of the total dollars paid to William Nylander in this contract are paid in the first 11 months. Any cash-strapped team, the Carolina Hurricanes who are interested, the Minnesota Wild who are interested, or anybody who generally can't ever get into the game of a $7 million player because they just can't afford it, all of a sudden can. Because they'll have to eat the full cap hit, but they don't have. They get to eat a fraction of the actual dollars paid if he's traded 11, 12 months from now, whenever it is. And then couple that, the way that contract's structured, with what Friedman said on Wednesday. Even if he signs long term, I don't believe Nylander will be a Maple Leaf next year.
Nylander, every single trade deadline, will be the hottest asset to acquire. Barring some kind of like superstar going on the market, the way his contract is structured, for exactly that, like a team can buy a player who's low dollars actually paid out, so it's great for a small market or cash-strapped team. B, a phenomenal player, near superstar, very extremely young, nowhere near his prime yet.
If you look at the stats, most players hit their stride at 22, 23 now.
24. I thought it was the number.
It's probably.
Anyways,
that, yeah.
so he's still getting better. And C, I can't remember what C was. I think C was these teams are willing to pay in assets big time, because that drive, whether or not you like to think about it, the economics of a player's deal will determine his actual hockey price. So a team who might only pay like a first and a mid-tier prospect for X player will pay maybe a first and a high-end prospect, and maybe even throw in a second if that player won't cost them a lot and has a low cap hit was my third point, and has a low cap hit and can contribute.
And is cap controlled, which means, hey, he's not a UFA next year or 2 years.
And he has a UFA year bought up.
And you got 6 years of William Nylander, 5 if you traded for him next year. So you're getting certainty in what you're acquiring.
Even if William Nylander falls off a cliff and ends up staying, like you were right, and Marner is several tiers ahead of him, and he's more like a second line winger, he'll still be an asset. Teams will like Dubas. Nylander won for himself. Dubas truly won. I think the Leafs should be happy, and it's not nice to think about Nylander being traded. And I'm as a Red Wings fan, I'm saying to Leafs fans, don't worry about it. It's not something you have to be concerned about right now. But if he is, you no longer have to worry about him not getting the return that you needed back. Because in the situation that he was in before he signed, yeah, that kind of leverage was lost. All the leverage belongs to Kyle Dubas and the Leafs now, all of it.
Yes. I have one bone to pick with William Nylander, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start by saying this. I am, in circumstances like this, I am always pro-player. You never know when you're going to suffer a career-ending injury or what's going to happen in your life. Get your money where you can get your money. If it means holding out for a year like Le'Veon Bell, or if it means you're holding out for a couple months like Nylander, you do you, kid. Get your money. What bothered me a little bit was after it was signed, when Nylander put that sentimental tweet out with the picture of the Leafs bag, going home. Like trying branching off what Tavares did. Okay. Stop. Tavares...
He just took a picture of his bag because it had all his stuff that he needs for IKEA. Going home.
When Tavares did it, there was true sentiment behind it because he took less money from Toronto and he was leaving another team because he wanted to go back to his favorite childhood team, and he was posting a picture of his childhood. There was legitimate emotion and sentiment attached to that picture, to that decision. Willie, you were holding out to get a few extra millions of dollars while us normies were yelling at each other about what you were going to do. This is not the same situation. You do not get to come out of this with sentiment.
I think it's hilarious.
I bet you that was the big, just a locker room thing. It was just a big old locker room
I
joke.
hope so. I really do. But, like, I just saw that and I'm like, no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to.
I thought it was so funny. And you know what? I think, actually, if I'm going to assign some meaning to it besides him just making a dumb social media post, I think it was a smart move. I think it was a smart move because he was very much on the edge of public opinion. A lot of people were angry at him. People who were a little bit more intelligent understood the position he was in, like what you mentioned before. Do what you need to do to get paid. This is your livelihood. But he had to make sure that coming back, the fans were not going to lord this over him, and I think that's a great way to do it, is to show his dedication to the team. Is it corny as hell? God, yeah. That was the LeBron James level of corny. But I think it was smart of him.
There's other ways to do that.
Well, I think he's probably euphoric. The guy just signed on for...
Oh, man, if I ever signed up, what was the actual dollar value on this contract total?
$42 million.
$42 million. Yeah, I'd be doing backflips for about a week. If
You're making $42 million before your mega contract comes in.
Yeah.
And
I'm okay with that.
He just got to take a 2-month break from hockey to come back to John Tavares, Austin Matthews, Marner, have everyone on that team having not lost a dollar. Literally did not lose a dollar effectively.
Nylander also said he wasn't considering a bridge deal at any point. He said he wanted long term. I wonder if that's because he knows he's going to end up playing on the third line now. Who are you pulling into that top 6 right now on a team that scores more goals than anybody else? Kadri could use someone to play with.
So someone said, how are we going to get Gardner signed now? And all I could think in my head was like, you're not getting Gardner signed,
That's
right?
when you trade Brett Pesci, Nylander to Carolina next year for Brett Pesci. Then you got all the money in the world for Jake Gardner. They'll probably have the same cap hit. There you go.
To the Leafs fans listening to this, feel free to flame Brad. He's at Hockeytown Evan on Twitter.
That's definitely true.
Let's take a little mid-episode break to talk about Twitter. Have you followed at Winged Wheel Pod on Twitter yet? No? You should do it. Once you do it, you'll notice the bio has 3 different accounts listed in it. That's Brad, myself, and Evan. Follow us as well. We're super active on Twitter. We're on it way too much. I had a dinner party last night, and I was on Twitter in the middle of it, tweeting about Brad Marchand. So do it. Follow us. Have you followed? We're going to wait. Have you followed? Excellent. Back to it. We have time.
We just caused a massive accident because someone's driving along on their phone right now. Shit, I gotta hurry.
If your kid's in the car with you, give them your phone. Have them do it. And then maybe double check to make sure that they did it right.
They didn't tweet us something dumb.
Yeah.
That never happens.
You know what? Yeah, it'll probably still be better than some of the tweets we get.
And a nice segue here. One of my favorite parts about the Tom Wilson hit was there was this Barstool Danny Heatley knockoff account that was tweeting at everybody.
Oh, that's not Danny Heatley.
Who had a negative take on Tom Wilson. I saw he like tweeted at me, and he's like, "What? Are you just gonna take like hitting out of the game or some like big long prairie red?" And I just ignored it, whatever. And then I saw Pete Blackburn quote tweeted the same guy, and I saw a couple other people quote tweet him. I'm like, man, you must have been bored tonight. And it was literally like a knockoff of 2 different accounts at Not Dating Heatley, and I think it even had Barstool something in his name. It was hilariously sad.
When a lot is happening in the world of hockey Twitter like loses its mind. When I tweeted that thing about Marchand and it got retweeted a bunch and made its way to Boston Twitter, they did not like that. I think my favorite quote tweet was, I must be watching a different game than this fucking guy. They all like sent me gifs of like Marchand winking or sticking the finger, and I was like, this is hysterical.
Well, remember, we have fun, friendly rivalries with many hockey teams, many different towns, depending on which Detroit sport you're watching. You know, with hockey, we dump on Leafs Twitter all the time, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Boston, what have you. And every fan base is fun to interact with, and, you know, well, except Boston. Those are the worst people on the planet.
That means you, Pete.
That means you, Pete. Pete's probably the most sane of them all, which is really, truly saying something.
Pete and Mark Allred, who's host of a Bruins podcast.
Right, Mark. Yeah, I see Mark in our mentions all the time. He's a good dude. But, yeah. Because the thing is, every sports team I'm a fan of, even though they're from different cities, Boston is like the biggest rival for all of them. And in every sport, they're infuriating. It's not just Bruins fans. It's not just Patriots fans. It's not just Celtics fans. I can't. I will have fun back and forth with any Leaf fan, any Hawks fan, anytime, no problem. Bruins fans go straight into the ignore pile at this point.
Speaking of which, Tom Brady threw a pick as you were saying that.
That makes me feel so happy. I saw a tweet today, Tom Brady finally hit 1,000 rushing yards, and someone quoted it. Josh Allen might hit that by the end of the year. He's had 234 in the last 2 games.
Mike McCarthy got fired.
Oh, you mean a team with Aaron Rodgers that's 4-7-1 fired their coach? No. Why would anybody ever do that?
They
lost to the Cardinals.
Yeah, watching that offense go like hurts my heart as an objective sports fan. Anyways.
Oh, did you see the one? I think it was the draw play comic about it. It was so good. It was just a picture of Rodgers yelling, "McCarthy, what do we do on the next play?" And the next panel is McCarthy looking down at his playbook, and it just says, "Give the ball to Aaron Rodgers, let him run around and do cool shit. Everything will work out." And then he's just yelled back, "Same play."
The guy, Rodgers doesn't let go of the ball, right? He just doesn't let go of it. He had a pass to Adams on the sideline, and then he had the ball for 27 minutes before he actually threw it. I kid you not. Regardless.
He's the new Josh Allen.
Well, 35 years old. You have 1 Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, who might go down as the GOAT.
Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the NFL, and I'll fight anybody who disagrees.
You got a lot of Lions fans listening to this podcast who won't like that.
I can objectively say, I hate the Penguins with all my passion, but for the last 10 years, Crosby's been the best player in the league. Talent is talent. I don't give a crap if I hate the team. Aaron Rodgers, okay, keep in mind, I'm coming from this as a perspective as a Bills fan, who's been looking for a quarterback for 20 goddamn years. It angers me to no end that Green Bay is wasting him. He has to throw 60-yard bombs every game just to make him competitive, whereas Tom Brady can throw 5-yard passes all day because their systems work. I hate the Packers and everything they stand for solely because they're wasting Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, I hate them because they're the Packers.
Yeah, no, you have more reason to hate them than I do, but I still hate them because of this reason.
We're going to get back to hockey. The Tom Wilson hit. He got a match penalty. No additional discipline from the league.
Stupid.
So, I can't remember the guy's name.
Brett Seney.
Skating backwards. Had just passed the puck or shot the puck or something. Was skating backwards. And Tom Wilson, who has preached about, cleaning up his game, has preached about not wanting to hurt guys, intentionally skated straight through him as Brett Seney.
Yeah.
Brett Seney was moving backwards, skated through him going forwards, obviously. Pointed, everyone was saying, well, the principal point of contact. Okay, the principal point of contact was in the head, but that still doesn't mean the guy didn't get whiplash and a concussion from it or whatever.
That is exactly my biggest gripe about this, because
people get hung up on the technicality. It's the same people who are yelling at me about Marchand. They're like, "Oh, he didn't slash Bertuzzi. He hooked him." you're doing semantics, and what better point to prove you wrong than the fact that your best argument is semantics and how he presented the messaging. That was a bad go. Yeah.
So there's a lot of things here. Some dummies actually said, "Oh, he didn't have time to get out of the way." He had a solid 2.5 to 3 seconds to move, which in hockey, time is for goddamn ever. This is a sport where players have to make decisions in literally a fraction of a second. He had all the time in the world. And someone said, "Oh, he tried to get out of the way. Look how his leg got lifted." His upper body didn't move an inch. He knows how to turn. The only reason he lifted his leg was because I don't think he wanted to blow at his own knee throwing this dirty hit. And I'm so glad you mentioned it because it's the point I hate. Oh, primary point of contact wasn't that. When you're in a car and you rear end somebody, do you know how many injuries there are just from whiplash? Your head doesn't actually hit anything hard. It's just the snapping motion of your head. And Wilson wasn't moving slow. He hit him hard. Cini had some serious whiplash going there. Not even counting any weird way he could have landed on the ice because he wasn't braced for this hit because he was skating backwards for 3 seconds leading up to this hit. He had no reasonable expectation of being hit there. Compared to the defenseless receiver penalty in the NFL. It's the same damn thing,
same
except they move faster in hockey.
If you're one of the people who said he couldn't avoid him or he tried avoiding him, I'm telling you, if you're saying that from a genuine place and you're not just being a troll or biased, I am telling you wholeheartedly as a hockey player, that is so completely false. It could not be further from the truth. That's the end of the conversation. It was intentional. That's it.
Like in a men's league where we try to avoid contact, like I've literally tricked myself trying to get out of a guy's way because we all have to go to work the next day, and I've done it in less time than that. And here's the final point. It's Tom Wilson. There is nobody on the planet who has less benefit out of the doubt than this guy. Right? The fact that he even tried that is appalling to me because, again, not that this is the type of hit that would end Cini's career or anything like that. It's not as bad as the Sundqvist hit. I get that. The sheer stupidity of even risking it less than 10 games back after being originally suspended for 20 games. He should be suspended just because of the stupid tax.
Honestly, yeah. Everyone was saying, "Oh, that's a reputation call." Like, sure, it should have been 2 minutes for interference, but that was a reputation call. Yes, it was a reputation call. That's exactly why. That might have been a fringe call for a referee who saw it at the corner of his eye. Maybe wasn't able to evaluate whether or not where he was before and said, "Oh, maybe he couldn't get out of the way." And then he saw Wilson. He goes, "No, the benefit of the doubt is gone," and that is the right way to evaluate that because look at the play. Wilson did it intentionally. I can't believe I'm saying this, but look at the way Brad Marchand plays. The guy, he's a pest, and he will get under your skin, and he'll do dirty stuff. I'm not saying he's a clean player, but he's not out there. I'm not saying he's never hurt a guy, but he's not doing it. He's not targeting guys like Tom Wilson is going to. At this rate, I genuinely think he'll break someone's neck one day.
He's gonna end somebody's career, because when he hit Sundqvist does not have a history of concussions. Who's a player right now that's they're one concussion away from it being all over? Crosby. Imagine Tom Wilson throws a headshot on Crosby now and ends Sidney Crosby's career.
Hope that arbitrator feels good.
Yeah. This is just the fact that the NHL did, even if you give Tom Wilson one game here, just so he knows, Tom, seriously, knock this shit out. Because his last suspension, even though it got reduced to 14, I genuinely thought there was a chance that was severe enough that it put the scare into him.
He lost millions.
Yeah, so he could have been
He's out here trying to lose another million.
It could have been okay. I'm still gonna be the player I am, but I'm gonna stop going for these monstrous hits. If Tom wants to play like Marchand and still be the asshole, the pest, fine. I have no problem with players doing that. But the fact that he even attempted this, I'm with you. I'm certain there is a massive injury coming at the hands of Tom Wilson. It's not even a debate. Tom Wilson's not even 25 yet, is he? He's got 10 more years to end someone's career. Maybe multiple people if they're going to keep going this soft on him. And I'm telling you right now, to me this was a 5-game suspension, and I know that sounds over the top because it wasn't a headshot, because it's Tom fucking Wilson.
The thing about this is I actually think the league has been handling it well recently. The onus is on Tom Wilson. The onus is on Tom Wilson. And like, what are you supposed to do if you're the Caps? Like, he's an effective player. We've seen he's come back and he went on a goal scoring streak. He changed the way the team plays. He saw success when he came back. So it's not like you're gonna just cut and release him. You've got to. It's
Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I was just
okay. Hitting a player and hitting
I'm just
something
saying,
else
it's
is
not
wildly different.
I'm saying you can cut a talented player on the spot. It's not unprecedented.
They would be ridiculous to let Tom Wilson.
No, they
go.
can't get out of that contract. They couldn't even if they wanted to.
even if they could, they wouldn't, and they shouldn't.
No.
But he just has to stop, plain and simple. There's no other conversation to be had besides he has to stop. It's all very intentional. It's on camera. What does he? It's a sickness. It's a sickness in his head that he can't shake the urge to hurt someone. It is absolutely absurd. It's targeting.
And from the NHL standpoint, this is why it's stupid. They just had an arbitrator reduce one of his suspensions for whatever reason. If you suspend him just, again, even if it's just 1 game for this one, it's on his goddamn record. So the next time he does it, you have another pillar to put in your case for why it shouldn't be reduced. But like, okay, well, this is his 12th suspension now. Here are all the other ones, so you can't reduce this at this point. Like, just put it on record. Just get it. Because now that there was no fine, there was no suspension, any further cases against him, this can't be used.
We're going to do a quick hit. The Seattle, I think it was the mayor of Seattle, had recently released that the arena is on track to be completed by 2020, which means in theory the team could start in 2020. However, common thinking is that projected to be completed in 2020 could mean December 2020, and the team will want to keep pace and give the league some time, especially to recover from the Vegas expansion draft, and B, to prepare as much time to prepare for that. And so my chips would be on 2021, the Seattle team, NHL team entering the league.
Ryan, you are missing the biggest reason they won't do 2020 here.
The lockout.
It's going to probably be even if it's not a full season lockout, we're probably missing a couple months that season. And how bad would it be to get a new marketplace completely hyped up? Hey, you got a team coming, it's going to be amazing. Oh, sorry, we don't actually have any hockey for you for a bit. So
Yeah,
so they're not going to do 2020.
I'm mildly hopeful that they'll figure things out before. Yeah.
I admire your optimism.
It's a very mild.
I don't have it.
We're going to head over to Patreon, where all of our patrons' comments get read out on air, guaranteed. As our way of saying thanks for supporting the show. Truly, if you want to become a Patreon patron, know how much it means to us. If you can, there's other ways to support the show. Stay tuned until the end. I'll do my whole ramble. But for those patrons who do support, and that's Brad playing ping pong on here.
Auto ad. I hate those so much.
We're going to start with Antonio. He says, hey guys, what is your favorite Christmas movie and why is it Die Hard?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is.
It really is up there for me. I love it. Elf is up there. I like watching the Harry Potter series every Christmas. I know you don't think it's a Christmas movie, but truly it is. They are.
Is there any acceptable answer other than Don Cherry's Rock'em Sock'ems?
Especially since the last one is this year, is it not?
Oh, is it?
30 or whatever?
I actually did not know they were ending it. But yeah, my Uncle Mike gets me the Rock'em Sock'em for Christmas every year since I was 2 years old. It's the only gifts he gives me.
He's going to have to find out something soon.
Uh-oh.
I know.
But seriously though, I was wondering what traditions you have with your family around the holidays. My family and I listen to Neil Diamond's Christmas album while decorating the Christmas tree, and we fondue every New Year's Eve. That sounds cozy as hell. Keep up the excellent content, and hopefully Lord Stanley will leave a hockey puck in your stockings this year. Thank you, Antonio. I watched the Harry Potter series. My mom puts up the most phenomenal Christmas tree I've ever seen. It takes her days. She doesn't let us help because she's...
That doesn't surprise me.
No. I'm a big Christmas fan. I start literally November 1st. I'm in the holiday season. That's how my spirit is. It's the only time I'm happy.
It's December 2nd now, and I still
haven't
my
put up
Christmas
tree's up.
Yeah,
it's
mine's
been up
not.
for a week.
Yeah, it's because Crystal's gonna have to do it. She put up your lights too, didn't she?
I didn't even know she was doing that. You guys came over. It's like, why is Crystal on the roof? I'm like, what?
Yeah, there she was.
I'm a huge fan of ugly Christmas sweaters. I actually got a Red Wings ugly Christmas sweater. I'll tweet out a picture of it. So.
Oh, I gotta go to an ugly Christmas sweater party next weekend, and
Taylor Himenga says, "Hey guys, what do you think about Jimmy Howard dropping the gloves to go after Rask? Remind you of the good old days of Ozzy?" Yes, it was such classic Red Wings hockey. I loved it. I love seeing Howard still have a fire in him, because if anyone deserves to be dejected and just give up because of the barrage he's had to face from this garbage team around him, is Jimmy Howard. And instead he's putting up like a 9.25 and dropping the gloves and going after Tuukka Rask. I love him. Kaylin Wood says, Antonio raises a good question, and I have to say National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and It's a Charlie Brown Christmas are the best holiday flicks. What's the one that the kid gets? I can't remember the name. His tongue stuck on a light post.
Oh, God.
A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Since I'm writing this during the Boston exhibition, who's your least favorite Original Six team? Not because of stats or whatever, just guttural, who makes you just want to bop an opposing fan on the noggin. I know Toronto's easy, and I'm not excluding them from the mix, but try to think outside of your toxic Toronto media bubble. For me, it's Chicago. They are dumb and bad at fan stuff. Love Kalen.
Well, yeah, you can take a lot of angles with this. For us, it's obviously Toronto because we're in Toronto area and we have to deal with Toronto all the time. For the fan base, it's Boston, hands down. Chicago shouldn't claim to be a good fan base, because when that team sucked, like that team was almost on the verge of like folding. It seemed they were so disinterested in the Hawks. So they don't get any claim because they just gave up on the team. Everybody forgets the Rangers are Original Six team, so they're just kind of, nobody hates them. They're like the dry toast of the Original Six teams. And then Montreal's arrogance is easily hated, but at least they've won, so they're allowed to have it. So there you go. That's why you should hate every Original Six team but Detroit.
I miss hating Chicago. And I truly, if not Toronto, I want to say back in the days when Chicago just started to be good again and they got a lot of new fans that you had to deal with, that's who I loved to hate.
The Hawks and the Penguins are the two teams, like, as much as I dislike Bruins fans because of how obnoxious they are, at least they've been obnoxious for like 100 years.
And they're obnoxious in every sport
that
they have a professional team in.
Chicago and Pittsburgh fans, they didn't exist before 2006 for the most part, so they don't count. They're not allowed to chirp. We're suffering through the Red Wings being bad right now. We're earning this. So when we're good in a few years, we earned the chirps.
Dan Bell says, "Hey gents, and Tigers #1 fan."
He was pooped this weekend.
So how much does everyone outside of Boston dislike Marchand? One day someone will take his suspension and knock his teeth out, and I will golf clap when it happens. Anywho, good win against Boston. Mantha finally started to throw his body weight around, which is good. Christmas Vacation is a family tradition here as well.
Oh, a classic.
Red Dead is still fun. Mr. Tinkles and I are kicking ass and taking money. Just watch Arsenal versus Tottenham. Stood 3 feet away from my TV for 90 plus minutes enjoying the ass-kicking Arsenal. Gave them while pounding beers after getting off work at 7:30 a.m. That's a party. Had to edit the post. My level of stress and TV yelling for that match equals that of Detroit versus Colorado in the 90s. Just a lot more beer and swearing now because I was a teenager then. It's 10 a.m. Central Time and it's bedtime. Hope all is well. Cheers. I was a roller coaster, but I loved it, Dan. The Red Wings and the Avalanche have actually just dropped the puck not too long ago as we're recording.
God damn it. I went to
God.
was still up.
Brad.
Dads in technology, eh?
I forgot that was up.
Evan Beckner says, on a scale of really, really liking Bertuzzi to really, really, really liking Bertuzzi, how much do you like Bertuzzi?
Really, really.
Oh, controversial. I'm actually going to go with really, really like Bertuzzi.
I'll just say really.
Oh.
We cover the spectrum.
Also, for extra giggles, go to the thread on r/hockey about the scrum and sort by controversials. Let's just say it's full of some spirited debates.
I'm still angry about the thread that went up a couple days ago where it said, is Blashill actually a good coach? And almost everybody said yes.
Yeah, I'm not...
Someone actually said he had a good breakout.
Oh yeah, I read that. It wasn't good.
That was the worst take I've ever seen on that subject.
The Red Wings are statistically the worst breakout team in the league.
And that's not close.
No, that's not even by the eye test, the numbers as well.
The numbers back it up. Their failure rate is staggering. I forget what the number was, the percent. The worst team in the league last year was like 30. The average was like mid-40s. Detroit right now is sitting at like 24. Like they're like
Cholowski and Green are the two most effective.
No, Green's among the worst for zone exits.
Cholowski and Jensen. Yeah, that's what
Cholowski's the best on the team. 40% success rate, 20% failure rate. Yeah, Jensen was the next closest. Daly was also real bad. But yeah, so when I saw that, I was just like, oh, vindicated. Not only are we not crazy about how bad the Red Wings breakout is, It's almost historically bad. This is not a good coach with a good system. This is a talented team carrying all the bad systems of the coach along with them. Imagine what Larkin and Athanasiou will look like when they get the boat anchors off their back and can actually get going through the neutral zone.
Andrew Schweeman says, the Wings do not seem to understand the concept of tanking, but I'm not going to complain about watching them win. It's the right attitude. What are the most important aspects of a successful rebuild? How does a team avoid becoming a franchise like the Oilers, for instance, who despite all the high picks always seem to be near the bottom of the league? As always, keep up the great work. In my mind, the single most overarching concept is asset management. The Oilers have been bad because they have not managed their assets well.
I'll even go a step further and say you can do as many stupid things as you want as long as you draft and develop well. You can be picking at pick 9, pick 7, but if you turn those guys into stars and you get a bunch of them, if you get a Joe Veleno at 30 who turns into a good second-line center, you get a Larkin at 15 who's a good first-line center, Phillips Zadina at number 6 who turns into a 40-goal scorer, whatever it might be, draft and develop. Just don't do what Edmonton does and trade them away. Keep them. Can you imagine a line of Connor McDavid, Taylor Hall, and Jordan Eberle? They could have had that without doing anything. And then had Matt Barzal as their second-line center. Just, whatever.
Connor Jager says, hey guys, started listening to the pod after the 2018 draft and haven't missed an episode since. I believe you're also a new patron, so thank you so much for tuning in and thank you for supporting the show. Welcome to the family. Says, never been a patron before, so this is a little new to me. I guess this is where I ask a question. If you could play a beer league game with any Red Wing, dead or alive, who would it be? Thank you guys for the amazing content. Keep up the good work. Gordie Howe.
Stevie.
Gordie Howe.
I would love to play with Gordie.
Stevie's my all-time favorite. I've never met the man.
Yeah, but you still have time to do that, potentially.
Yeah.
Well, if we're talking dead or alive, that means I have infinite time for everybody, so...
Ooh, logic. Logic by the man who can't sort out an auto-playing ad on his phone.
Yeah,
Twice.
It's closed out now, we're good.
Joe Caboose119Z Falzone says, sup, went to the United States National Team Development Program Under-18 game yesterday, and he left some thoughts about a few of the players. Hughes, not much to say, on another level, the best player on the ice at all times. York, surprisingly good, an active left-handed defenseman.
I've heard a lot of good things about Cam York outside of his shot.
Vlasic, a monster on skates, but he's incredibly smooth and efficient. Excellent defensive reads and more offense than I expected.
Seems a little unfair that a Sharks player can go play for that team.
You'd think that he would be way better than everyone else around him. I didn't know he was 6'6". Knight plays a very efficient game. Like Price, needs to work on puck tracking a bit, but was calm and collected. Boldy, very skilled big forward. Caulfield says Mini Marner. Never seen a player cut an edge as tight as he did today. Was the best forward not named Jack.
I think he's legitimately 5'6".
Yeah.
I think that's actually what he's listed at.
Rowan says, please weigh in on some trade value index movements this week. Howard, value up.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Nyquist, value up. Constantly rising.
The quietest 3-point game last night.
Might be the biggest asset to get at the deadline.
Someone actually tweeted at me that he was disappointing this year.
Yeah.
He's near a point per game, leads the team in assists.
He always gets that treatment. He constantly gets that treatment.
He's got bad puck luck and hit like 5 posts in the last few games.
Goodbye.
That's Evan Lehman. It's not the
Wait,
podcast
we're
Evan.
playing the team in hockey tonight that hasn't won in 3 years.
Oh,
So I have to get there early for points night.
you gotta go.
It's
yeah.
stats night.
Yeah,
It's stat pattern
it's
night.
stats night. I gotta get that plus minus up because I am a serious minus right now. Goodbye.
Daly, much better versus Boston, but still not much value probably. Has 0 value.
Daly didn't play against Boston.
I think that was his joke. Brad read it.
That's a quality joke now that I actually caught that.
Jensen.
You didn't say it with the proper inflection.
No, because I was just going to read off the list. Jensen, holding Sable. Jensen is another asset. I don't think he'll be the biggest one, but I think he's an asset a lot of teams will go for as their second or third plan B or C.
Chris Weidman only got a 6th-round pick. I have no hope of getting anything of value for Jensen at this point.
Which team has the worst regular jerseys in the league? Alternate/third jerseys not applicable. Again, this quiz will be graded.
Ottawa.
Oh, yeah. Anyone who's...
Ottawa.
Yeah.
This isn't up for debate at all. Buffaloes are bad, but they could be improved just by getting rid of the stupid silver. They're blue and yellow. Stop overthinking this. Get rid of the stupid silver. Who else is in it? Who are the other egregious offenders here? I have way too many strong
I'm
jersey
trying to
takes.
think of...
Because the worst offenders from a couple years ago all changed their jerseys, so now I'm struggling to remember.
Ottawa's a really bad one. Anyone who still does any kind of piping is wrong.
If LA just got rid of their piping, they'd have among the best jerseys in the league, but they just won't.
I think Ottawa is really the answer here. I think you're right. I'm offended that the Jets aren't with their old jerseys, but I don't necessarily dislike their current ones.
Their current ones are fine.
I'm scrolling through.
I
Dallas are fine. Columbus
I seem to be in the
okay.
minority of the people who doesn't like the Leafs new one. I like the new logo. I like that they went to the retro logo, but the rest of the jersey's awful.
Yeah, I think it's whatever. We'll think.
Washington's is due for an update.
I think Washington. It's frustrating because they have a better one like right there.
I want them to go back to the old blues with the
blue and bronze.
Yeah, God, go back to those, please.
Adam Flett says, "Afternoon, gents. Seeing people like Brendan Smith and Scott Darling waived, people with term and cost. Why, oh why, haven't some of the wings D been sent down to the A and Hronik been called up? Can't fathom the logic. Is there something I'm missing?"
Blashill and Holland love the veterans without any... What's the word I'm looking for here? They're unabashed about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's genuinely... They think it's the right way to handle it is by never holding them accountable.
Ever.
Love the last episode. Trade return for Howard ideas. I'm okay with Bach in a second. I would be too.
It's a pipe dream.
I think he means in return for...
If we're getting, like, we might have to
contract.
take... Yeah, we might have to... We're definitely taking a bad contract with that, for that.
Hope we smash Colorado later. Thanks for the pods. Thank you, Adam. Clayton Van Dyken says, "Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I'm an assistant produce manager at a grocery store here where I live. And I gotta tell you, I'm so glad this romaine crisis is finishing up. Have you guys been affected by the romaine issues too?" Yeah, we had letters recalls.
I've had less salads lately.
So obviously Larkin has been one of the few bright spots this year, but I feel like the last couple of games he's been limited to the perimeter of the ice a lot more, something I thought brought him down a lot his second season. Am I just seeing things or am I not wrong here? Depends on how teams game plan for Larkin, honestly.
It's a lot easier to game plan again. Okay, this is just going to sound like I'm just piling on, but it's a lot easier to game plan against Larkin when Abdelkader is on that line. Because for whatever you want to say negative about how Darren Helm has like no offensive instinct or finishing capability in his repertoire, he's fast, he gets to the puck, he creates chances. Abdelkader is none of those things, so you don't have to worry about it. So now Larkin's the guy who has to win every board battle, get to every puck first, get to every dump in first. Because again, as good as Mantha is on that, he's also not the quickest guy like Helm is. So Larkin's kind of got to do a little too much for what is, air quotations, a first line. Put any capable winger outside of Abdelkader on his wing, and it will free up so much more of the ice for him.
On a different note, I've been listening to the podcast version of Hockey Central at night a lot recently, and although I disagree with them on a variety of points, I could listen to Doug McLean and Brian Burke talk all day. Brian Burke, something else.
I don't agree with a lot of what he says, but damn do I love the way he says it. He's just so matter-of-fact, dry, I'm going to throw this hot take out there like it's nothing. Let's just go.
That makes one of us. Honestly, the stories are just so interesting, and although I disagree with a lot of things, you can tell these guys are highly intelligent people and good people at heart too. I think anyway. And finally, to top things off, what Pokemon would Tyler Bertuzzi be if he were a Pokemon? Ooh.
Okay, so effective but a pain in the ass. I was gonna say Zubat, but Zubats are useless.
Something like kind of rough and tumble. Who gets gritty? That's hard.
Is Gritty a Pokemon?
Gritty's like the Mewtwo of Pokemon.
I'm thinking like of a scrappy fighting type here.
Is he Machoke?
A Mankey maybe?
No, Mankeys are useless.
Primeape?
No, because we gave Primeape to... Oh no, Mankeys. Mankeys Wachowski. Primeape might be Bertuzzi. What is it? Machop, Machoke, Machamp?
Yeah.
I would say Machoke.
Yeah, Bertuzzi could be a Machoke.
And
that
Todd is a
the
Machamp.
middle six,
Yeah.
scrappy.
Yeah. Bonus, what would Mickey Redmond be?
Oh god. What's that one? Snorlax looks like the drunkest Pokemon, so I'm going with that.
Garrett TV says, "Hi fellas, longtime listener / follower and finally now able to support. Welcome to the family, Garrett. Thank you so much for supporting all this time. Just became a patron this week, and this is my first post. Sorry in advance for the disappointment. Self-deprecation aside, I'm going to assume you spent a large part of the episode discussing recent games, including the fun against those FBBs, which stands for Frickin' Bruin Bastards. That's how I refer to them. Please feel free to use the term if you'd like. My question, though, is how do we prevent the NHL from turning into the NBA in terms of isolation and promotion of individual skills, not only by rules in place, but also the type of play we champion? Goal scoring is up immensely, which is obviously fun to watch, but I'm starting to get concerned that it could lose its luster over time. That things like the ever-tweaking of goalie equipment and a rule-enforced emphasis on speed and open play change the game from a team-based sport into too much of an exhibition. What do you think? Goal scoring was huge in the 80s, and teams reacted by creating 90s hockey, which, until the lockout in 04, was far more defensively focused and methodical. Obviously, rules have changed in a way that makes that type of obstructionist and possession style of play not really possible anymore, which is why I'm concerned that we could go to another extreme where games are all over the place and the value of goals feels diminished. I'm thinking about this a lot since the Ron McLean comment to the same extent made during your interview a couple pods back. Also, holy shit, you guys interviewed Ron McLean. At what point does this all become legit? Holy crap, I'm really rambling, but haha, Ryan has to read all of this because I'm a patron. Sorry, I'll be better someday, but not today. Thanks for doing what you do. In all seriousness, we have been remarkably impressed with the direction and capacity of the podcast lately. Keep it up. Also, next time I'll compose this from a computer instead of mobile so I can insert some line breaks instead of writing one embarrassingly childishly long paragraph. Go Wings.
There we go. Okay, so your
First of all, thank you for your nice, kind words. That means the world to us. Brad?
I'm going to agree with one of your points. I'm going to disagree with one of your points. I'm with you and Ron in that I don't need a high-scoring game to be entertained. I don't think more goals equals more entertaining hockey. The value of a goal, it's the one thing I love about soccer for as much as I hate soccer. When someone scores, it's a moment. Everybody loses their mind. It's a huge deal. It means something. You know you have a huge advantage in the game. I love that. I'll take a low-scoring NHL 2-1, 3-2 game any day of the week. I just hope we don't get to the 0-0, 1-0 soccer. I will disagree about your comment about going the NBA route, about having more individual focus, more personalities. That's what's going to grow the sport. I want more superstars because outside of Detroit, I'm having no more fun anywhere in the NHL other than watching Connor McDavid because it's a spectacle. I want more of that, not less. If you look at the Red Wings, we like groan when the fourth line comes on the ice. We groan when Abdelkader has a chance. I want to see more focus on top lines, top six, top defensemen, star goalies. Put the spotlight on the players that deserve to have the spotlight. I understand the team culture, but the way the NHL is lucky right now is even the fourth line player is still an elite athlete these days and capable of being a good hockey player. But those guys who just have that separation from those guys, it's special, and I want more of it.
Brad covered a lot of that, and I'm just going to add one more thing to it. The NHL, the hockey, by its nature as a sport, will never become what basketball is. Basketball becomes a individual isolation sport because the way the sport is designed.
Yeah, you can hold the ball possession, and LeBron James will play 48 minutes of a 60-minute game, or however long it is. He will play... No, sorry, it's a 48-minute game. So he'll play like 40 minutes of a 48-minute game. That can't happen in the NHL, so you'll always need a supporting cast.
Andrew Dubiel says, what a game last night against Boston. I only wish Rask and Howard would have been allowed to fully go at it. I've been yearning for a goalie fight for a long time. My question for you is, what is the best beer league team name you've ever heard? There's a team in Kalamazoo named Book Hockey. Thanks for the great content, guys.
There's a team in my beer league named Winged Wheel, but anyways.
I personally think that's the best team name.
My favorite that I've ever played is they were in our league last year. O'Reilly's Drive-Thru.
That's funny.
That's the best one I've come across that I've actually played.
I don't know. That's funnier than anything I would have run into. When you play intramural hockey in university, you see the same team names cycled through. I think
Mid-Ice Crisis and
Pucked Up, the Ugly Pucklings,
Puck You, Moose Knuckles,
the Mighty Drunks.
Yeah, there's my summer league last year had 2 variations of the Mighty Ducks name. It was just come on now.
I do like topical stuff, so yeah, O'Reilly's Drive-Thru is funny. Yeah. Advanced Water says, hi guys, so because of my busy life I don't have enough time to devote to hockey as I would like, but this podcast is a great way to keep up with my favorite team and not sound like an idiot when talking to my hockey friends. Glad we could help. So question time, on nights when the Red Wings aren't playing, who should I watch? The Wild is my backup team, but besides that, all my hockey game choices are fueled by dislike of other teams, and I try to watch games where teams I don't like lose, especially the Penguins. Whoever the best players in the world play for, Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Austin Matthews, watch players who are exciting.
Yep.
Watch Connor McDavid every second you can, it's so worth it.
2 low-key teams lacking mega superstars but super entertaining to watch this year. Carolina, and Ottawa. Their games are just chaos.
Yeah, that's actually
not necessarily that they're great teams, but the games are just. Ottawa, I think, has the second most goals in the NHL this year. Believe it or not.
Brady Tkachuk has been a great pick so far.
Second most goals in the league this year. They're also on pace to set like NHL records for most goals allowed in a season. So, like I said, Ottawa games are just chaos. And Carolina, with their everything to the net mentality, their games turn into track meets. So,
Stan Olsen says, "Hey guys, hope all is well. My favorite Christmas movie is definitely Home Alone 2. Ooh, Home Alone series are also really great Christmas movies. Honestly, I think it's time to admit that this team is just better than we thought at the beginning of the year. How do you think Larkin compares talent-wise to other first-line centers in the league?"
middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack, yeah. Like,
Not one of the better ones, not one of the weaker ones.
it's important to remember not very few teams actually have a true number one center.
Yeah,
It's like the most coveted position in hockey.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's standard. And if you put him against second-line centers, he's among the best.
Yeah, he would be the best.
We have time for a few questions from our Reddit thread. Wade Baca says, "Hi guys, day one listener here. Funny story actually is that I lived in KW, Kitchener-Waterloo, which is where we are, when Brad posted on the subreddit about the podcast. Was really interested, but I knew he was moving to London in 5 months. Ooh, sorry to hear. Oh well, I guess you have Evan now, in theory. My question is, what do you think Detroit's season looks like with Zetterberg in the lineup? P.S. I used to hang out with my best friend in Breslau all the time." I just wanted to chime in, like, I mean, it's so cool to see people who are, like, our first post was only on SoundCloud and we put it out on the subreddit. Like, we started in this subreddit.
Yeah.
We talk about this, or, like, and people ask us from time to time, but we truly, this is the most grassroots way to start. We're, like, Red Wings fans. I was trying to find people in Windsor to do a podcast with, because I was like, maybe I'll, like, go back to Windsor once a month. And Brad was like, I live in KW, and he put it up on Reddit, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. We met on the internet at its importance, and neither of us stabbed each other. Contrary to popular belief, the risk of stabbing has only gone up since then, but we still haven't. But Wade Baca, it's so cool that you've been with us since day one. I'm sorry you had to move to London, because I treat London, what I think London is truly just bigger, stabbier Windsor. Anyways, this team was Zetterberg.
About where they are, because you're probably pulling one of the young, productive forwards out of the lineup. Do we see this much of Bertuzzi this year? Maybe not. Do we get to see? I don't know. I think it's still better, but I don't think it would be a ton better, honestly.
Red Wings guy says, "Hey guys, long-time listener, first-time commenter. Thank you so much for joining in on the discussion." He says, "So I'm from the Grand Rapids area and I'm still living here and want to let you in on some Griffins gossip." Ooh. A friend of a friend is dating Vili Sarjärvi. Oh, this is spicy. Unfortunately, I don't like her very much, so I hope she doesn't stunt his young Vili's progression in becoming the next Erik Karlsson. Yeah, keep her away. Also, some good news is apparently Philip Zadina refuses to drink alcohol until he's 21 and is incredibly humble despite wanting to fill Montreal's net with pucks. Cheers, go Wings, go Griffins. That makes me so inexplicably happy.
No, I'm worried now because the bender on his 21st birthday is going to put him out for a month.
Graffinino says, "Why in the world is it even debatable that the Wings should trade Howard? In my mind, having a pending UFA playing some of the best hockey of his career is a dream scenario for a team in a rebuild. You'd never do this for a marquee/face of the franchise type player, but for a player that may not be part of your long-term plan. Why is there hesitancy? Can I get that tattooed on my back? Thank you." I just started following hockey this year, so forgive me if I'm being totally ignorant. I'm a huge Cubs fan, so my mind is geared to think from a baseball perspective. In my mind, I'm thinking every UFA in this team is performing and would get a good return, would be gone to shore up the prospect pool as much as possible. In general, yeah.
That's pretty much how most hockey teams run. Hey, you're a UFA. Hey, here's an extension for you. I don't want to sign that. Okay, goodbye.
Yeah. Side note, I can't help but think of the Cubs and Theo Epstein when I think of Yzerman. It makes too much sense for him to not be the next GM if it were me. He'd be the GM to the day his contract expires with Tampa Bay, and I let him pick his coach. Even I can tell Blashill has to go. I love this guy. This is amazing. I'm a Tigers fan, but I have a soft spot for the Cubs, and that Epstein comparison makes me happy in so many ways. Keep up the great work. Listening to your podcast has helped this newbie learn the game and this team much quicker than I'd ever done on my own. # Let's Go Red Wings. That makes me happy that we can do that.
That just makes me sad now that I'm thinking about the Blue Jays, how they had a great GM and Anthopoulos got rid of him for 2 shit heels in Shapiro and Atkins. But, you know.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, that franchise needs to be run in the ground for no good reason. Here we are.
Deathman6452 says, "Hey fellas, you've been churning out great content. It's been getting progressively better over the last couple of years I've been listening. I'd say this season has been a huge step forward for you, so keep it up." Thank you. Just thank you.
It's a season we have other people on, so we have to talk less, and now people are talking about improvements.
Question. Who is now on our untradeable list? Who is now on your tradable list? Untradeable. Okay.
End of list.
Yeah. That you won't like that list, but truly there's no player that will never not get, like, if we're talking realistically, then you're going to see Larkin there, but there are players that I would trade Larkin for.
There's players
It's never going to happen.
Right now, okay, players on the... There's no way in reality we're going to get a good enough return to trade them. So I think my list right now... I'm not going to count prospects because that's always a guessing game. Because right now I would not trade Zadina and Veleno until I know what they are. But as far as the roster player goes, I think my list goes Larkin, Cholowski.
I think mine would just be Larkin.
Again, I'm willing to trade both of them, but again, for how good Cholowski is, I don't see us getting a good enough return to justify trading him. And at that... Whoever we're trading on this team, we're probably trying to bring back a defenseman, so I'm not going to move out our current best defenseman unless the return is, like, insane.
And the tradable list is anyone else. Second question, how the frick have we been doing so good the last 15 games, 11-4 after Boston last night? A lot of talent coming through.
It's
a lot of talent overcoming bad systems.
There's a lot of people trying to find reason for this. It's honestly Larkin, Athanasiou, Mantha, Cholowski, and Howard playing, and Bertuzzi playing really well. There's no other like explanation behind that. It's all the young guys who we needed to improve this year to make the team better have improved, and we're getting great goaltending at the same time. We are one Jimmy Howard injury away from being like just a hair above the LA Kings.
On that note, Jimmy Howard does not have a good history with his health. Trade him ASAP.
Yep.
We have time for one more. Brad, think of a number between 1 and 5.
7.
All right. Henlik Zetterbark says, "Hey boys, still the same old G, rocking a new Reddit ID. I was thinking of some potential interviewees. YouTube, urinating tree, 5 points vids, the hockey guy." Oh, those are different things. Media, Jesse from Bar Down, Bob Kaiser, Griffin's play-by-play guy, Eric Zane, Griffin's PA announcer, anyone from Spittin' Chicklets, Darren Elliott. Hockey personnel, Sean Horkoff, John Warbluski, United States, the national development team coach, Draper, and Darren McCarty, who's apparently starting a stand-up career.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. If you guys ever want us to interview someone and they're on Twitter, tweet at them and tag us.
I've always wanted to interview people from the Red Wings organization, but I'm afraid when I reach out to them, they would just laugh. And my ego can't take that. Also, I don't even know how to reach out to them, so...
Yeah, Brad's ego is something else. No, yeah, we've come close. It's, we're always trying to get bigger and better and different guests, and we're going to keep working at that. And if that's been a huge thing for us to be able to make this whole 2 episodes a season... Or 2 episodes a season. 2 episodes a week thing work. So, yeah, if you guys know anyone, tweet at them. If you know them personally, let us know. Let them know. Whatever you want to do. That's how our biggest interviews have come about. We're going to take this time to wrap up. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. All of our Patreon patrons. We thank you. We love you. Our name-level sponsors, Sean Levine, Sky Carcass, Arjun Shanker, Clayton Van Dyken, Langabeer, Derek Shippert, Kaylin Wood, Charlie Elkins, Stan Olson, Ryan Lewis, Dan Bell, and Hannah Lee. Thank you guys so much, our name-level sponsors. If you guys want to support the show, keep listening. Subscribe however you get your podcasts. Rate us on iTunes. Hashtag do the thing on Spotify. Tweet at us. Follow us on Twitter at Winged Wheel Pod, and then follow our individual accounts. That's huge. Like us on Facebook. Tell your friends. Tell your grandmother. And I'm going to stop rambling because I want to go watch Detroit and Colorado rekindle this rivalry.